afternoon, folks, and thanks for tuning in tonight. Tonight we're going to touch on a few points about checking into a digital net. We've been doing a lot of digital nets in the past, and we're getting a few more people all the time that are checking in. So this is going to be kind of centered around one of the more popular forms, which is the ICS 213 form. To start with, I would like to touch on the way we check in. Okay, so I can't emphasize enough how important it is to follow the instructions by the net control station in a traffic net or in an emergency voice net. It's very critical that we follow the instructions given by the net control regarding how they want us to check in. If you miss the instructions or they don't, or you tune in late or something like that, you can usually listen on a voice net, and most of the time you can follow how the other operators are checking in and check in that way, right? So, and this comes from the voice of experience. When I first got my general ticket, I thought I would be kind and help out and relay traffic for, I think it was a hurricane watch net or something like that, and so I was relaying information, this, that, and the other thing, and I didn't do it right. And that lady net control operator told me in no uncertain terms, if I can't check in right, don't check in at all. And so I learned to be a little more efficient, a little more observant on how to check into nets. Now, and I might mention, folks, don't have thin skin. I mean, if you're corrected on a net or something like that, they're in a hurry a lot of times, especially if it's an emergency communications net and they're handling emergency traffic and stuff like that. Don't feel bad if you get chastised a little bit. They're in a hurry and they're handling important traffic. So anyway, on a digital net, you can watch, if it's an active digital net, live digital net, not for instance a WinLink net, but for instance an FL DigiNet. You can watch how the stations check in. Every week we do a net check-in. We ask for certain things in order, right? On our FL DigiNets, on our Sunday night nets, and on our Wednesday night nets, right? On HF. And that's the way the net control operator would like to have you check in. So you can kind of watch and see how how other people are checking in if you haven't gotten the instructions, and you can check in that format. This is KB7ITU. So, and the reason a lot of times that the net control stations have you check in a certain format is they're using a spreadsheet or some other kind of data sheet that they can copy and paste from to, and if they have to, that takes away time from other stations that that may need to have our attention, and it may be a life or death situation, or anyway, it takes valuable time away from assisting other calls. And this is included with voice nets as well. It's all the nets out there. So this short training tonight will be on the following instructions on the weekly WinLink net that we do, and that's going to be mainly centered around the ICS 213 message form. So this is going to be on how to reply to an ICS 213. And don't get me wrong, I'm just as guilty as anybody else. When they ask for a reply, I'll bring up a brand new ICS 213 form and send it to them. Well, that's not what they're asking for. They're asking you to reply at the bottom of the page there. So let's go to slide 2. Okay, so you've received a request from the WinLink Digital Net Control Station, and it came to you via an ICS 213 form. You're asked to reply to this form using the reply section at the bottom of the ICS 213 message. This is how you do it. This is super simple, but we don't do it enough and to stay efficient at it and remember how to do it. So the first thing you want to do is you want to exit that form, that ICS 213 form that you just received. Just exit out of it. That'll take you back to slide 3. So go to slide 3. on slide 3, you'll see that same message, but it'll be in the inbox. So what you want to do is hold your mouse over top of that message, right in the middle of it, right where it says message ID or whatever like that, where it's in blue like that, like it is right there, and double left click on it. That'll bring up the following slide, which is slide 4. Now this is the text version of the form that you just filled out, right? So up at the top you'll see reply or reply to all, and usually we just use reply. If there's more than one station, you can do reply to all, just like you can on an email or something like that. So, but for this net tonight, let's click on a reply. Okay, so we're going to reply to the net control station. So click reply and go to slide 5. All right, now that opens up the reply section down at the bottom of the form. Okay, so the top part of the form is what you received from net control, and in this case it's WB7ML. Okay, at the bottom of the form, Richard asked you to sign in with your call sign, or with your name, your call sign, and the mode you operate of your operation. Okay. So when you check in, don't add anything to it. So if you check in with your name, nothing in between, your call sign, except a space, of course, your call sign, nothing in between, no added characters, no added slash marks or anything like that, and then the mode you operated in. And that makes it a lot easier for the net control operator to copy and paste that to a data sheet that they're using. Okay. Let's see. Okay, let's go through this just a little bit. So at the bottom, right after you reply, you have to reply. You'll see replied by, and that's usually your call sign or something like that. You know, that's what we use as amateur radio operators, is our call sign. So replied by KB7ITU, and the position title, you can, whatever your position title is named, okay? So you can name your own. If it's not a net, for instance, I name mine Rexburg Henry's Ford Stake ECS, right? So, but if you're in an EOC or something like that, they may designate you a position, right? And so you would use that position when you reply. In the date and time, if you just left click on the date and time, it will bring up a format, and you can just click on that date and time, and it'll put the current date and time in that date and time slot there. KB7ITU. Okay, and then once you get that done, click the submit button and go to slide 6. Okay, and that's telling you that you can now go ahead and close that. So you click OK, and it will open the other session. So go to slide 9. So this is ready to send now. As you see, double check when this slide comes up, when this frame comes up on your WinLink. Double check and make sure everything's correct, right? So net control usually wants the subject matter, which is the WinLink check-in net for that, for that date, to WB7ML or whoever the net control is for that week, right? And everything else is already filled in. You've checked out when you left, when you filled it in. So you just click post to outbox at the top left-hand corner. Now this will send just the Word document like this. But if it's a WinLink operator at the other end, which Richard is, when he clicks on that message, it will bring up the ICS 213 form and fill that form in. If it's an email that you're sending, if you're sending it to an email recipient that does not have a ham radio license and is not using the ICS or the WinLink system, then it will come just like you see it right there as a text format. All the information is there. It's just in a text format instead of in a form. All right. So when you click to post to outbox, go to slide 9. Slide 8. I'm sorry. And from this slide, you will see that there's one message in the outbox to go out to net control. Now, if you've got others, you might that you've responded to prior to that, you might have those in there as well. But if you click on the outbox, you'll see who all the messages are going to, and the net control one should be in there with WB7ML as a recipient. Now you're going to open session, and just like you do when you received the message before, just open session, and it will send the message and receive any messages that you've got. So that's a short, down and dirty way of checking in with the ICS 213 form, and just a little bit on accuracy and following instructions for the net control operator. If you ever have any questions about filling out a form, whatever form we use, a lot of times we'll use different forms. Call the net control operator, email him, or ask him exactly what he wants, because that's the way we learn, and we don't mind as net control operators. We love to have people call in and ask, hey, what do you really want here? I've had a lot of times that I've sent out instructions and it's not clear to anybody but me. And we have this happen to us because we've been doing this for so long. Sometimes, check the repeater, KB7ITU. Sometimes we get ahead of ourselves when we think, well, we know it. You ought to know it, right? So we've been used to doing it for so long, it just comes as second nature to us. So sometimes we get ahead of ourselves and just expect you to know something that isn't clear to you guys. So and that's happened to me many times before. My wife has to tell me when I'm explaining something to somebody is, start at the bottom and work your way up, because they're not understanding what you're talking about. So, they're just not used to that kind of thing. So, and that's all I have for the net tonight. Is there any questions or comments or points of interest anybody would like to correct me on or add to? Please come with your call sign.
Comment, WB7ML.
Sure, go ahead.
Well, thank you, Steve. I appreciate the training tonight. It's good information. One other thing the only thing I might add is that if you need help when you're in the form in WinLink, you can actually left-click on the reply form when the form comes up in your HTML browser, and a detailed set of instructions on exactly how to reply to it will come up for you, and that's one of the beauties of WinLink, is there are a few of those forms that have that feature where if you click on it, it'll tell you the right procedure to do it. So anyway, just thought I'd bring that up. If you're like me and you're clicking along doing things and you get lost and you can't remember what was it that Steve said or what was it that I saw, a lot of it's right there. So anyway, hope that helps. Whiskey Bravo 7, Mike Lima.
Thank you, Richard. Yes, I forgot. That was one of the things I was going to add, and I totally spaced it. So thank you for bringing that up. Any other questions or comments? Oh, I heard a really weak one. EYD, I think. Go ahead with your question.
AM7EY. Anyway, I just got a new radio. I would like to be able to have help in setting the WinLink and all these digital modes up. It's kind of foreign.
Okay, so I'm having a pretty hard time copying you. Is there before I answer the question as best I can, because I think I know what he said, is there somebody that was able to copy him on Simplex that can relay? Okay, the station that just posted, that just asked the question, if you'll get a piece of paper and pencil, I'll give you my phone number, and you can call me and I can talk to you about it and help you out there a little bit. That's what I do, is help people with their digital questions and setting up and all that kind of thing. So I'll wait just a second here and then I'll come back to you. Any other questions or comments, KB7ITU? Hey, sounds like we've got everybody. I hope that helped everybody out. So the station that was looking for information, if you've got a paper and pencil ready, I'll go ahead and give you the information. Over.
Just a second, my antenna got knocked down, so I'm on low power program.
Okay, I think I heard just a second something about your antenna got knocked down, I think. I'll stand by here for just a second. And in fact, why don't we stand by after the net? Stand by after the net, and I will pick you up after the net, and we can go from there. And we won't. That way, we're not holding everybody up. So I appreciate that. Thank you. And Kellen, back to you. KM7G, KB7ITU, and thanks for running the net tonight.
KB7ITU, KM7G. Thank you, Steve, for that great training. Very informative. This is KM7G Net Control Station for the CRC net. For the information of those on the net, the regional reports are as follows. Do I have a report from Idaho Falls South first?
Is your page? I can give you that report.
I think that was you, Steve. Go ahead.
This is KC7IHV. I believe the numbers were 15 or 16 check-ins, 15 on emergency power.
KC7IHV, KM7G. Thank you. I appreciate that. Give me just a second here, and I'll get these numbers for you. Okay. The Idaho Falls North had 22 check-ins with 18 on emergency power. Idaho Falls South had 16 check-ins with 15 on emergency power. Rigby had 37 check-ins with 35 on emergency power. Rexburg had 29 check-ins with 21 on emergency power, and Salmon had 7 check-ins with 7 on emergency power, with a total of 111 check-ins and 96 on emergency power. Is there any additional traffic or system business for the ERC net tonight?
KB7ITU, Kellen.
Go ahead, Steve.
Just a heads up for everybody. So the Digipeater node on 145010 on Relay Ridge is back up in operation. It's running higher power and it's working very well. So that's your WinLink and also your regular packet. So if you're doing that way, that's back up in operation. So back to you, Kellen, KB7ITU.
Thanks, Steve, and thank you for all you do. Hey, I would like to thank everyone for your participation at this evening's net. The emergency response communications net is now closed. All stations are released. This is KM7G in Rexburg. The frequency is now clear for normal communication.